Welcome back to Hot Flash Divas. Today I'm reading chapter 38 titled Crisis. I will warn the reading audience that part of this chapter includes an attempted date rape. I shot awake at 1 o'clock on a Saturday morning to the William Tell Overture blasting from my cell phone. In the dark, I ran toward the drop-down desk where my phone was charging and fell over Buffy. Yep! Oof! Rubbing my right knee, I limped to the phone charger. The display showed the call was from Gina. Gina? I heard sobbing. Gina, are you hurt? My heart ran laps inside my chest cavity. Gina, can you talk? He tried to. She broke into uncontrollable sobs again. Do I need to call the paramedics? No. Is he still there? Oh my God, what happened? No. More sobs. Are you at home? Yes. I'm on my way. I texted Kat and Letitia. Someone hurt Gina. Meet me at her house. I sprinted into my walk-in closet and threw on the clothes I'd set out earlier. I ran out the door, locked it, and froze. I rushed back inside, gave Buffy food and fresh water, and slid the panel out of the dog door. I wasn't sure when I'd return. Once in the car, I revved the engine on my Prius and drove like I was competing in NASCAR. I screeched to a stop in the driveway of Gina's townhome. When I reached the porch, I began ringing the doorbell like I was manic on energy drinks. Gina opened the door puff-eyed and dripping snot and blood from her nose. She was shaking as if she had a fever. Her right eye was swelling shut, and her blouse, half torn, hung from her torso. Oh, Gina, who did this? I wrapped her in my arms. Pushing her wayward curls from her face, I walked her to the sofa and eased her down. I'll be right back. I found an Afghan on the foot of her bed and snatched it along with a box of tissues. I wrapped her up and had just handed her the tissues when the doorbell rang. Kat stood at the door. Her brown eyes, hard as marbles, stood out in her pale face. Where is she? What happened? I'm not sure yet. I just got here. I sat next to Gina and put my arm around her. She was rocking. Not a good sign. Kat knelt in front of her and began examining her. You did the right thing to keep her warm. She's in shock. Kat rose, rushed to the bathroom, and returned with 2 washcloths before disappearing into the kitchen. Gina was crying so hard she couldn't form complete sentences. He tried to rape me, she wailed. I held her tight and rubbed circles on her back. Gina returned and wiped Gina's face clean. Then she placed a baggie full of ice wrapped in a cloth on her eye. Hold that on your eye, Gina. Gina nodded and held the makeshift ice pack in place. Kat took off to the kitchen again and returned with a glass of water. The doorbell chimed. That's Letitia, I told Gina. Kat looked at her watch. She made good time. Kat opened the door and stepped aside. I looked up and saw thunderclouds forming on Letitia's face. What in sweet Jesus happened here? Letitia trumped to Gina's side with a force that vibrated the floor. She plopped on the couch and encircled her like a taco. By now, Gina had gained some measure of control. She handed me her makeshift ice pack and proceeded to blot her tears and blow her nose. Kat felt along Gina's nose, causing her to wince. Your nose isn't broken, but that eye is going to be a doozy. Letitia patted Gina's thigh. You tell the divas what happened, and we'll take care of that asshole. She looked ready to pound on someone. Kat looked like a tea kettle ready to boil over. Her son Jack was the outcome of a gang rape during a fraternity party. I knew this was hitting close to home. I was pretty pissed myself. You messed with one diva, you messed with us all. I had a date tonight with Mark Bird, a divorce attorney in Morgan County. We've known each other professionally for years. She paused to catch her breath. Her voice sounded nasal and congested. He took me to dinner and brought me home. She looked at me, tears filling her eyes. He's always been such a gentleman in my dealings with him in the courthouse. Gina began to sob again. We waited, giving her time to regain control. She blew her nose. Reaching for another tissue, she dabbed at her eyes, flinching when wiping the swollen one. Taking a few deep breaths in through her mouth, she accepted the water from Kat and drank half of it. Kat took the glass and placed it on the table and handed her the makeshift ice pack. When I opened the door, he pushed me inside and had his hands all over me, like he thought we were going to have some passionate, clothes-ripping sex. She placed the ice on her swollen eye and shuddered. I'll rip that asshole's clothes off him and shove them up his ass, growled Letitia. Keep the ice on your eye, said Kat, patting her knee. I pushed him off me and told him to stop. That's when he ripped my shirt. I tried to run, but he grabbed my arm, whirled me around, and started pawing my breast. I managed to slap him and pushed him away. That's when he punched me. Kat, Letitia, and I exchanged looks. Anger rolled in my gut, sinking release. How did you get him out of here? I handed her the glass and she took another sip. When he punched me, he knocked me into the wall. When he saw the blood, I think it scared him, so he turned and ran. Kat stood and felt the back of Gina's head. Does that hurt anywhere? No, I didn't hit the wall very hard. I lost my footing and slid down. Does she need to go to the ER? I asked Kat. No, I think she's fine, at least physically. But I'm taking pictures. She pulled her phone from her pocket and snapped photos of Gina's face from several angles. Then she backed away, taking pictures of her torn clothes. Are you ready to make a police report? Can we call the police now? Asked Letitia. Gina looked down, twisting the tissue in her hands. What? Well, Letitia leaned away and examined Gina's face. Gina looked at each of us with a pleading expression. The legal profession is still a good old boys club. If I press charges, it would only be a misdemeanor assault. He'd get a slap on the wrist, and I'd be the bitch that got a fellow attorney in trouble. It would hurt my career. What about the attempted rape? I asked. It's still a misdemeanor. She looked down at her trembling hands. Letitia's face darkened. So he gets away with this? Lower your voice. You're upsetting her. Kat paced back and forth in front of us. Not necessarily. I leaned forward and tracked her pacing. What do you mean? Well, there's legal justice, and there's diva justice. Kat gave us a malicious grin. So if you want to find out what diva justice turns out to be, you'll have to listen to the next chapter. Have a great day. Like, subscribe, make comments, anything else you would like to do. I appreciate all of those. Stay safe and stay well. Bye.